Let's begin with a truth so brutal and so blindingly obvious that it forces most men to immediately look away. You need to stare directly into it until the spots clear from your eyes. She already knows. She knows you like her. She knows you care. She knows you are rereading her last message. And she knows you are sitting there, phone in hand, waiting for a reply. And yet, with all of this knowledge, she is still not responding. You must allow that reality to sink past your skin and settle deep into your bones. If someone, anyone, truly wanted to be an active participant in your life, would you ever have to chase them this hard? Would you have to convince them to speak to you? Would you have to audition for a sliver of their attention? The answer is a resounding, unequivocal no. When a person genuinely wants to talk to you, they make it easy. Their desire is communicated not just through words, but through an unmistakable energy. There is no confusion, no convoluted mixed signals, no agonizing 3-day wait for a reply to a simple question. There is no waiting by the phone, your stomach twisting into knots with each passing hour, hoping for a notification that never comes. But that is precisely where you find yourself now. You are a detective in a case with no crime, an archaeologist digging for meaning in the digital dust of your last conversation. You are sitting there, overanalyzing her punctuation, her use of emojis, the timing of her last scene, convincing yourself of 1,000 elaborate fictions. Maybe she didn't see it. Maybe she got overwhelmingly busy. Maybe her phone fell into a volcano. You will tell yourself any story, no matter how absurd, to avoid the one simple, devastating truth. She saw it. She held her phone, saw your name, read your words, and made a conscious, deliberate choice that engaging with you was not a priority. That silence, that gaping void where a reply should be, that is her answer. It is louder, clearer, and more honest than any politely crafted excuse she could ever send. You do not need to text her again to get some forced, pity-driven response. You do not need to beg for a conversation about closure. The closure is right there, staring you in the face. It is in the unread message, in the ghosted conversation, in the stark contrast between the way she used to be excited to talk to you and the way she now treats your outreach like an inconvenient chore. No response is a response, and it is the only one that truly matters. It is the raw, unfiltered truth of her current interest level. And the moment you stop looking for alternative explanations is the moment you begin the long, arduous process of taking back your power. Let's be perfectly honest with ourselves. This hurts. Rejection, in any form, feels like a physical blow. It is a direct challenge to our sense of worth. But instead of running from that feeling, instead of immediately trying to soothe the sting with another desperate text, you must do the opposite. You must face it. You must sit with the discomfort. Accept it. Let that feeling of being intentionally ignored sink in so deeply that it becomes an unforgettable lesson. A scar on your psyche that will forever remind you of this principle. If she wanted you, you would know. You would not have to guess. Your people would not have to wait. And you most certainly would not be contemplating sending that one last Hail Mary text, hoping it will magically reverse the slow, painful death of her attraction. This is the critical juncture where most men fail spectacularly. Instead of accepting the silence and walking away with their dignity intact, they double down on the very behavior that created the problem. They keep trying. They believe that if they just say the right thing, phrase the perfect question, or send the funniest meme, they can reignite a fire that has already burned out. They try to be clever to spark a conversation. They try to be nostalgic to remind her of what they once had. But all it does is push her further away. It is the equivalent of trying to grab hold of smoke. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it dissipates. She already knows where you stand. Your interest is not a mystery to her. Therefore, if she is not texting you back, only two logical possibilities exist. The first is that she is simply not interested. Her attraction has faded, and she is hoping her silence will convey the message. Her politeness prevents her from stating directly. The second, and often more insidious possibility, is that she is aware of your continued interest and is enjoying the power dynamic it creates. She enjoys the validation of knowing you are still chasing, but you are waiting in the wings, readily available for an ego boost whenever she might desire one. In either scenario, you lose the moment you reach out again. You do not win people over by proving how much you are willing to debase yourself. You win them over by proving that you respect yourself far too much to beg for crumbs of attention. The longer you keep texting her, the more you are reinforcing the subconscious idea in her mind that she is the prize and you are the competitor, that she holds the power, that she can ignore you for days on end and still have you waiting patiently. You are teaching her precisely how she is allowed to treat you. You have been playing the game all wrong. You have operated under the flawed assumption that if you keep trying, if you remain consistent in your pursuit, if you just find new and creative ways to remind her of how much you care, she will eventually have an epiphany and come around. But here is the fundamental misunderstanding. Every time you reach out to a woman who has gone cold, you are reinforcing the very dynamic that made her lose interest in the first place. You are cementing your position as the chaser, the pursuer, the one with less power. Attraction is not built through constant, predictable availability. It is a delicate ecosystem that thrives on a degree of mystery, on distance, and on a powerful undercurrent of self. And right now, there is absolutely no mystery about you. She knows exactly where you are, what you are doing, and how you feel. She knows that if she wanted to talk, all she would have to do is tap out a 2-word message. The fact that she chooses not to should tell you everything you need to know. So, what do? You flip the script entirely. This is not a petty game of ignoring her back. This is a fundamental paradigm shift. You must stop being predictable. You must cease being the guy she knows will text her good morning. You must abdicate the role of the man who lingers in the background of her life, liking her stories, waiting for a fleeting moment of her attention. Instead, you become the guy who disappears. This is the art of the Vanishing Act. It is a conscious, deliberate withdrawal of your energy and focus. You do not just stop texting her, you perform a complete digital and mental exorcism. You stop checking her social media. You stop asking mutual friends about her. You stop rereading your old conversations, searching for clues that no longer matter. For the first time in a long time, you must become completely and utterly unreachable. Is where the shift happens. The moment you stop making yourself so readily available, you introduce a powerful new element into the dynamic, a question mark. She may not notice right away. She might not care today, and she might not care tomorrow, but eventually, the pattern will be broken, and she will realize that the consistent, predictable source of validation who used to chase her is gone. And when that day comes, she will feel something she has not felt for you in a very long time. Curiosity. People only appreciate what they perceive they might lose. As long as you were constantly texting, she felt no risk of loss. She had you, but the moment she senses that you have truly moved on, that you are no longer in her orbit, that you are building a life that does not revolve around her, the tables begin to turn. The first flicker of doubt will enter her mind. Did I make a mistake? This is not about manipulating her emotions. It is about reclaiming your own power and re-establishing your value by demonstrating that your world does not crumble without her in it. This brings us to the most crucial transformation of all, the alchemy of your energy. Think about the sheer volume of mental and emotional energy you have wasted on this one person. The late nights spent staring at your phone, the hours of replaying old conversations, the endless, agonizing overthinking. All of that precious, finite energy has been poured into a black hole. Now imagine if you were to take that same obsessive focus and point it inward. Imagine if, instead of obsessing over her, you obsessed over your own goals. Imagine using that same relentless drive to get into the best shape of your life, to launch a new project, to master a new skill, to become the kind of man who does not even have time to worry about whether or not someone texted him back. You must internalize this truth. You are the prize. Your time, your energy, and your attention are the most valuable assets you possess. The moment you start treating them as such, the entire dynamic of your life changes. Suddenly, you are no longer the man waiting by the phone. You are the man too busy living a compelling life to even care. Confidence is not about telling people you are great. It is the quiet, unbothered aura of a man who is building a life he is proud of. It is not about chasing. It is about knowing, deep down, that you do not have to take all that energy you have been wasting and redirect it. Go to the gym and channel your frustration into one more rep. Read books that expand your mind. Work on your career with a singular focus. Become so engrossed in your own self-improvement that you forget why you even cared about texting her in the first place. And here is the beautiful irony. When you finally reach that point of genuine indifference, when you truly have moved on and stopped caring about the outcome, that is often the exact moment she will notice. That is when she will wonder what happened to the man who used to place her at the center of his universe. That is when she might even reach out, but by then, it will not even matter. Because the goal was never to get her back. The goal was to get yourself back, and in that, you will have already won.